Good morning. Welcome to Storytime at Hickory Public Library. My name is Lisa, and I'm the children's librarian here. And I've got some good books to share with you today. But first, we have to say our hello song. It's got some sign language in it. The sign for hello is a salute and then up in the air. So it's hello. And then the sign for friends, you have two fingers for two friends, and friends hug. So that's friends. And the song is simple. It goes, hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's time to say hello. My first book is all about colors. Do you have a favorite color? Most of the time, my favorite color is blue. But sometimes I just can't resist purple. This is Cat's Colors. Cat's Colors by Jane Cabrera. I'm Cat. What do you think my favorite color is? Look at all the colors. Is it green? Green is the grass where I like to walk and play. I don't think it's green. Is my favorite color pink? Pink are the petals of my favorite flowers, but pink is not my favorite color. Is my favorite color black? Black is the night when bats swoop and soar. Is my favorite color red? Red is the rug that I lay on in front of the fire. Is my favorite color yellow? Yellow is the sand on a sunny beach. Is it purple? Purple is the yarn that I tangle in my claws. Cats like to play with yarn, don't they? Could my favorite color be brown? Brown is the earth where I dig holes. And what comes out of that hole? A little worm. Is my favorite color blue? Blue is the sky where I chase birds. Oh, maybe it's white. Do you think my favorite color is white? White are the clouds floating in the sky. Do you ever lay on the ground and look up and try and find shapes in the clouds? Like, look, that one looks like a fish. And this one looks like a mouse. Is my favorite color orange? Yes, my favorite color is orange. Do you want to know why? Because orange is the color of my mother. Aww. Look at the little kitten. And his big orange mama. And that is the story of Cat's favorite color. Next, let's do Pete the Cat. Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. So the colors do. And Cat's favorite shirt. This is by James Dean, and Eric Litwin. Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt. It was bright yellow with 4 big, colorful buttons down the front. He loved this shirt with its round, groovy buttons. He loved it so much that he made up a song. My 4 groovy buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. But then, pop, boing! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left now? 1, 2, 3. 3 buttons. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come, buttons go. He just kept on singing his song. My 3 groovy buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. Pop, boing! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left now? 2. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come, buttons go. He just kept on singing his song. My 2 groovy buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. But don't you know, pop, boing! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left now? 1. Just 1 groovy button. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He just kept on singing his song. My 1 groovy button, my 1 groovy button. And then, pop, boing! Oh no, that last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left now? 0, none, nada. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come, buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt, and you know what he saw? His belly button. So he just kept on singing his song. My button, still got my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness, no. We just keep on singing because it's all good. Buttons come, buttons go. Have you got a belly button? Everybody has a belly button. Let's see. I've got a story about a big, smelly bear. Geeky. And it's by Britta Tuckentrup. Look. That's kind of a sweet bear face. Big smelly bear, never washed. Big smelly bear, never brushed. Big smelly bear never took a bath. Big Smelly Bear was followed around by a big smelly stink wherever he went. Flies buzzed all around him, but they were the only ones that ever came close to him, 'cause he stunk. When the animals in the forest got a whiff of Big Smelly Bear, they ran away as quickly as they could. None of this seemed to bother Big Smelly Bear, but sometimes he did think it might be nice to have a friend. Then one morning, everything changed. Big Smelly Bear woke up with the most terrible itch. He tried to scratch his back with his paw, but he couldn't reach it. He tried rolling around in the dirt, but that didn't stop the itch either. Big Smelly Bear was itchier and dustier than ever. Look at those claws. He tried scratching his back with a tree branch, but that just made the itch even itchier. And he tried rubbing his back against the trunk of an old tree, but that didn't help at all. Then he heard a voice. "I would scratch your back for you, but you're much too smelly." Big Smelly Bear looked up and saw a big fluffy bear sitting in some branches. Big Fluffy Bear smiled at Big Smelly Bear. "Why don't you take a bath?" asked Big Fluffy Bear. "Then you wouldn't itch or smell." "'Cause I don't need a bath," replied Big Smelly Bear. "Yes, you do," said Fluffy Bear. "No, I don't," said Big Smelly Bear. "Yes, you do," growled Big Fluffy Bear. "No, I do not," growled Big Smelly Bear. "Yes, you do," cried Big Fluffy Bear. "No, I don't." "Yes, you do, because you stink." Both big bears sat quietly for a minute. Then Big Smelly Bear sighed a big sigh. "Oh, all right," he said, and he stomped off grumpily down the hill to the pond. When Big Smelly Bear got out of the pond, he shook the water from his big body, and Big Fluffy Bear jumped down from the tree and sniffed. "There," she said, "that's much better. Now you smell all clean." And she scratched his back for him. Oh, the itch was gone. Big Smelly Bear sighed. "Thank you," he said. Then he gave Big Fluffy Bear's back a little scratch too. "I'm not going to take any more baths," said Big Smelly Bear. Big Fluffy Bear smiled. And the two big bears had a little bear hug. Big Smelly Bear liked Big Fluffy Bear very much. Even though he said he would never bathe again, sometimes, late at night, he would wander down to the big pond. And can you guess what he's doing? He's taking a bath. He wanted to smell nice for Big Fluffy Bear, didn't he? He didn't want to be a smelly bear anymore. This is one of my favorite books. It's by Jules Pfeiffer. And it's called Bark, George. So, George is a dog. And what do dogs say? They bark. Woof, woof, woof. Now, when babies are born, like if you have any little brothers or sisters, when they're babies, when they're first born, can they talk? No. They don't know how to talk. They know how to make noise. They can squeal and cry a lot, but they don't talk. Somebody has to teach them how to talk. Who do you think teaches them how to talk? Moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and brothers and sisters. They all teach baby how to talk. So this is George, and his mama is trying to teach George how to talk like a dog. She wants him to bark. Bark, George, by Jules Pfeiffer. George's mother said, bark, George. And George went, meow. Is that right? No. No, George, said his mother. Cats go meow. Dogs go woof, woof. Now bark, George. George went, quack, 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 quack. It's not right either. Who says quack, quack? No, George, said George's mother. Ducks go quack, quack. Dogs go woof. Now bark, George. And George went, oink, oink. That's not a bark. No, George, said George's mother. She looks a little frustrated, doesn't she? Pigs go oink, oink. Dogs go woof, woof. Now bark, George. George wanted to make his mama happy. He really did. So he took a deep breath and he tried really hard and he concentrated and he said, moo. Who says moo? Cows. George's mother took George to the vet. A vet is a doctor, a special doctor for animals. I'll soon get to the bottom of this, said the vet. And he put on a latex glove. Please bark, George. And George went, meow. And the vet reached deep, deep, deep down inside of George and pulled out a cat. He had a cat in his belly. No wonder he's making funny noises. Bark again, George. And George went, quack, 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 quack. And the vet reached deep, 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 deep down inside of George and pulled out a duck. Bark again, George, said the vet. And George went, oink, oink. So the vet reached deep, 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 deep down inside of George and pulled out a pig. Do you remember what was next? Which animal? Bark again, George, said the vet. The vet put on his longest latex glove, and George went, moo. And then the vet reached deep, 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 deep down inside of George. Look, his mother can't watch. She's got her eyes covered up. Do you think he can pull a cow out of there? Let's see. And he pulled out a cow. How big the cow is. And I think George's mother did too. Bark, George, said the vet. And George went, woof, woof. Yay! George's mother was so thrilled that she kissed the vet and the cat and the duck and the pig and the cow. Big, wet, slurpy doggy kisses. And on the way home, she wanted to show George off to everyone on the street. Proud mamas like to show off their babies. And so she said, everyone stop. Listen to what my Georgie can do. Bark, George. And George went, hello. George said hello. They're going to have to go back to the bed. Who says hello? People. He's got a people in his belly. That's a funny story. Do you think that could be a true story? No. But it's fun. Speaking of fun, this is called No Such Thing. Has anybody ever told you there's no such thing as, say, there's no such thing as ghosts? There's no such thing as vampires. There's no such thing as, I don't know, anything. Well, that's the title of this book, No Such Thing. And it's by Jackie French Kohler, and the pictures are by Betsy Lewin. And it's about a little guy named Howard. And Howard's family has just moved in to a new house. Except this new house is really an old house. It's a very old house, but it's new to them. Howard loved the old house he and his family had just moved into. He loved all the little nooks and crannies and the large windows that nearly touched the floor. He couldn't wait to explore all the funny little closets and cupboards and secret passageways. He even liked his big old-fashioned bed until it got dark. I think there's a monster under my bed, Howard told his mommy when she came in to kiss him goodnight. Howard's mommy just laughed. "Aw, this old house is playing tricks with your imagination," she said. "You know there are no such thing as monsters. Now be a good boy and go to sleep." Monster's mommy came in to kiss him goodnight. "I think there's a boy on top of my bed," Monster told her. Monster's mommy just giggled. "Oh, Monster, you know there's no such thing as boys. Now go to sleep." Howard made a snarl. "Mommy, Mommy, come quick." "What is it, Howard?" his mommy asked. "There is a monster. I heard him under my bed." Howard's mommy just smiled. "You've been watching too many scary movies, Howard," she said. "I told you, monsters are only make-believe. There's no such thing as monsters." Under the bed, Monster heard a sneeze. "Achoo! Mommy, Mommy, come quick," he called. "What is it, Monster?" his mommy asked him. "There is a boy. I heard him sneezing on top of my bed." Monster's mommy smiled. "You've been reading too many comic books, Monster," she said. "I told you, boys are only pretend. There's no such thing as boys." Howard peeked over the edge of his bed. "Mommy, Mommy, come quick. I can see his tail." Howard's mommy rushed into his room, and she picked Howard's jump rope up off the floor. There wasn't a tail. "Howard," she said, "I'm losing patience." Monster peeked out from under the bed. "Mommy, Mommy, come quick. I can see his fingers." Monster's mommy came in. She didn't see anything. "I'm sure it was just your pet tarantula crawling around. Now go to sleep." Howard decided to take one more look. Monster decided to take one more look. And guess what happened? Ah! Howard ran to get his mommy. He's there. I saw him looking up at me." And Monster went running to get his mommy. He's there. I saw him looking down at me." Monster's mommy took him back to his room. She lifted him up to the top to see the top of the bed. "There, it's empty. No boy. Are you satisfied?" Howard's mommy took him back to his room and she knelt on the floor with him to look under the bed. There, she said, nothing under there. Are you satisfied? Howard's mommy tucked him in one more time. Now this is it, Howard. If I have to come in here again, you're going to be punished. Good night. Go to sleep. Monster's mommy tucked him in once more. I've had it, Monster. If I have to come in here again, you're going to be in trouble. Now go to sleep. Howard put his face in his pillow and started to cry. He cried and cried. Monster pulled his spider web up over his face and he started to cry. He cried. Between sobs, Howard heard a strange sound. It sounded really sad. And between his sobs, Monster heard a strange sound. It sounded scared. Howard peeked over the edge of the bed. A very sad face looked up at him. Monster peeked out from under the bed. A very scared face looked down at him. Were you crying? Monster asked. Yes, said Howard. Were you? Yes, said Monster. Why? Asked Howard. Because I'm scared of you, said Monster. Boys eat little monsters. Howard tumbled back on the bed. Boys eat monsters? And he laughed and laughed. Where did you get a silly idea like that? Boys don't eat monsters. They don't? Asked Monster. Of course not, said Howard. But then he stopped laughing. But monsters eat boys. Are you going to eat me? Then Monster started to laugh. He laughed so hard that he rolled back on the floor and kicked his feet in the air. Monsters eat boys? That's the silliest thing I ever heard. Where'd you get such an idea? Did your mommy tell you that? No, said Howard. My mommy says there's no such thing as monsters. Monster stopped laughing. Really? My mommy says there's no such thing as boys. She never believes me when I hear boy noises at night. I know, said Howard. Mine never believes me either. Then Howard and Monster sat slowly shaking their heads when suddenly Howard began to smile. Come here, he said. I've got an idea. He leaned in close and whispered in Monster's ear. Monster giggled and he nodded. Then Monster crawled up on top of the bed and Howard slipped underneath the bed. And then together they called, Mommy, Mommy, come quick! So what's going to happen? Mommies are going to come running in. And Monster Mommy is going to look under the bed and see a little boy. And Howard's mommy is going to come running in and find Monster on top of the bed. And I'll bet they're going to have to stop saying that there's no such thing. Because now they'll know there is. That's No Such Thing by Jackie French Kohler. That's all I've got for today. Those were fun books, weren't they? So now we have to sing our goodbye song, which is exactly like the hello song, except instead of hello, we say goodbye. It's just a wave. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Bye. Thanks for coming. See you next time.